So at the moment, there's a lot of talk about academies within the football world needing to do a lot more when it comes to helping players transition out of the game. So release players being released from the system and maybe finding it difficult to pursue another career path, or maybe finding it difficult to understand the reasons why they've been released, navigating life. They're at a young, kind of vulnerable age, from 16, 17, sometimes younger than that, and also maybe struggling to find another club. Um, it's a tough one. I haven't got the answers. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on this, but for me, I think it needs to be more of a collective. So it's easy to pinpoint and put the blame on these clubs and say they need to do more. Whilst I agree with that, yes, they need to do more. I also think that parents need to do more. They need to be realistic and keep their sons and daughters grounded, even when they are getting praise from those coaches, which will happen. And also friends, other family members, and also there's an element of responsibility for or from the player as well. So it's more of a holistic approach from my perspective, anyway. That's my outlook on it. But at the same time, there are clubs out there who do really good jobs. I think it's Crystal Palace most recently have come out and mentioned that they've got like an after player care program, which is great. And I think as a result of that, you'll see a lot more clubs following suit. But there were things in place at other clubs before the Crystal Palace news broke out. So I still do think that clubs need to do more, but how much more? And what do they need to do? And at what point does it start? And at what point does it end? Is it 3 years? 3 years player care after the player's been released? Is it 2 years? What is it? And it all depends on the individual. Some will need more help than others, whether it be from a mental perspective, a psychological perspective, or more of a physical one, as in getting them maybe from A to B with trials and things like that, and sorting out potential opportunities elsewhere. So it all depends on all of those things, who the player is, how they are, where they're located across England or wherever it is, their financial background, their family home kind of living background, the position they play, the club they're at, their network, the club's network. There's a whole heap of strands that need to be considered here. So it's easy just to pinpoint and, like I said, say clubs need to do more. And whilst it's horrible hearing these stories about players being released and then falling into situations that are kind of detrimental for them and everyone that's connected to them, that's horrible. But at the same time, it's not just the club's fault. Clubs have got a goal. Their goal is to bring as many players through that are good enough to potentially make it into the first team. So by nature, the industry dictates that there's going to be players that are going to be released. And that's just something that you need to understand as a player, as a family, as a parent, whatever it is. So I also think that, like I said, from my perspective, it needs to be a more holistic approach from all quarters involved. But like I said, I haven't got the answers. That's just my outtake on it. But yeah, all the best, and I'd like to hear people's thoughts on this if people have got any.